This week I'm going to be asking, understanding the different types of games out there, how hard could it be? So to start off, I'm going to be talking about genres and types. By genres, I mean the settings of the games, whether or not it's based in reality or whether it's based in something that's fictional. And I'm also going to be talking about different types of games. So basically how the games are played. So to start off, there is two basic types of games. The first, historical. So historical games are something that's based on reality, some sort of event. So this could be anything from one of the world wars to medieval times to basically any time when people are having a bit of a barney. So all the history, essentially. There's games set throughout the entire history of the world, different parts of the world, so the Civil War, both American and British. Then there is the second type of games that are out there, which is fictional. So this is fantasy, sci-fi, alternative history, steampunk, and any bugger else that's not based on actual historical fact. So next, it's the types of games that are out there. So first of all, there's board games. Board games, as the name implies, are games that are played on boards. So there is loads of miniature based board games out there. So one of the really popular board games out there at the moment that involves miniatures is Zombicide. Zombicide involves fighting zombies. It's also known as a cooperative game because you're working together as opposed to trying to beat someone. The next type is skirmish games. Skirmish games involve using a few small models on the tabletop fighting each other. So they could either call it gangs, call them teams, call them squads, and basically it's just involving a few small miniatures, maybe up to 10, maybe very most 20 models in some cases, and you're just fighting them against each other. The third category is army games. These are obviously much larger than a skirmish game, involving a lot more miniatures, which also obviously involves a lot more time, a lot more money as well as a lot more effort just being put in generally. So some of the well-known army games out there are like Games Workshop's Warhammer 40,000. There's also Kings of War, which is a fantasy based game, and then you've also got the historically based Bolt Action, which is set in World War II. So there's also some games that are known as scalable. Scalable games are games that where you can start off with just a small few number of figures, so it starts off as a skirmish game, but you can get more and more models in there and it becomes a full army game. So that way you can expand without the need to having to jump in with lots of models straight away before you can actually start playing. A good example of this is Games Workshop's Age of Sigmar. This is a game where they changed the original Games Workshop Warhammer to Warhammer Age of Sigmar. They completely reworked it so that less points are needed, and that you can, so that people wanting to get started in the game can just get a few and play, and then when they get more and more into it, they can then expand and play full army games. So some games out there that are also known as gateway games. The reason why they're known as gateway games is because they are a gateway into the hobby. So a great example of this is X-Wing. X-Wing is a skirmish game involving pre-painted miniatures, so it's another reason why it's known as a gateway game, because you're not even having to paint the models yourself. It's all one piece, all sorted out for you, and the rules are quite simple. You get the box, in the box there's enough stuff to play for two people, and also with the popularity of Star Wars at the moment, it's really helping to draw people into the hobby. Another example is the aforementioned Zombicide. This version is Zombicide Black Plague. This is set during fantasy Black Plague medieval period. There's also the first 3 seasons, which is set in a more of a post-apocalyptic Walking Dead sort of setting. There is actually a Walking Dead game out there as well. So the reason why that's great is because it comes with 71 models. They're all one piece. You don't have to paint them. You can do if you wanted. There's a lot of models in there for you to practice with, so if you did want to do the hobby as on the craft side, not just the playing side, you can get into it that way. Also, the great thing about the Zombicide series is there's lots of expansions. You can get extra figures if you want, but at the same time you can just play the board game. It's not just a set board. There's lots of different quests. You can put the boards together in different ways. So the zombies move, you don't really have control of the zombies, they have to do certain set things. You have to try and get away from them and kill them, that sort of thing. But you work together with other people. You can play it by yourself, you can play it with up to 6 people, you can play it with more with the expansions as well, which is another good thing. So it depends on your setup, but it starts off slow, lets you expand, and that's why for me personally I think it is a great gateway game. There is some people that have said that it's a little bit expensive to start, but to be fair, compared to a lot of the other model based board games out there, it's actually a fairly reasonably priced, especially for the amount that you get in there. One of the early gateway games, one of the gateway games that seems to be really popular for the older generation of hobbyists is Space Hulk. Space Hulk was created by Games Workshop. It was the gateway into the Warhammer 40,000 universe. It's available everywhere, and then you could just go to the Games Workshop store and get some extra models for it, and then expand into the other games they played. They don't produce it anymore. They do limited ones every so often, which sell out instantly because everyone loves it. But it seems to have been really important to a lot of the older players. So understanding the types and genres of tabletop war games. How hard could it be? You tell me. Let me know in the comments below. If you like the video, like, share, subscribe. You know what to do. If you want me to look at anything in the future, put it in the comments. I will try and do it. I am trying lots of different things, and again, this is my point of view as a beginner. I did a little, like I've said before, I did a little bit as a kid, not done it in years. I'm just trying to find ways to get into it and try and find other ways for people to get into it as well. So hopefully, see you again soon, YouTubers.